Welcome everybody to the home of Jewett Guitars in downtown Cleveland, Ohio. Also the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm going to show you a guitar right now that is one of the new guitars for 2021, and we're about in the middle of the year. And so this is a guitar where we've been exploring some different designs, some different wood choices, as well as using some really incredible sinker mahogany. And this is a standard OM guitar, meaning no cutaway. And by standard, what I mean is it's a standard OM depth of about 4 1/4 here and 3 1/4 or so at the neck. This guitar features sinker mahogany that we recovered, or that was recovered from the Hudson River, that was destined for a sawmill, or it was going to be cut up in the 20s or 30s by a sawmill that was there. It sank to the bottom in the holding pond for the sawmill and sat there for about 80 years before it was dredged out. And there's a link at the bottom of this, or at the in the video description, where you can read all about the sinker mahogany in a little bit more detail. But I want to talk about some of the features on this guitar because this is a really, really special sounding guitar. Starting up here at the top, we've got black ebony peghead overlay with the Jewett logo in mother of pearl, a little bit of a cat eye and diamond inlay also in matching mother of pearl, truss rod cover with the Artist series on it. And coming on down here, we have a bone 1 3/4 inch nut, gold Evo frets that terminate here in a bone saddle, and the bridge spacing on this one is also 2 1/4. So with the 1 3/4 inch nut and 2 1/4 inch spacing down here, it's a pretty much standard finger style setup. This guitar has a Zerakote fretboard, and it's a new material for us. And it may not show up in the video, but Zerakote is a very figured wood to use for a fretboard. It has some really nice black streaks going down it that probably are hard to see on the video, and because of the oil on the fingerboard, or the fingerboard oil, it's not quite as dramatic, but it is a very, very nice looking fingerboard. And I've also got a Zerakote bridge here that matches the fingerboard. This has gold Evo frets. I took some of the sinker mahogany that was a cutoff from the sides and used it to inlay the rosette. And this is a solid wood sinker mahogany rosette that's bordered by 2 black, white, black purfling lines. Coming around to the back, I have a Brazilian rosewood peghead overlay. And I did, on this particular neck, I polished that to gloss so you really could see some of the beautiful grain in this Brazilian rosewood. I've got a little Brazilian rosewood heel cap down here that matches it. And on this one, I used gold Schaller tuners with real ebony knobs, not fake plastic. And Schaller tuners, if you've never used them before, are just about some of the smoothest tuners you'll ever use on a guitar. They hold tune very nicely, but when you turn the knobs and you start tuning it, it's very smooth and very precise action. This particular guitar, as I said, is a standard depth for an OM, and we talked about the sinker mahogany, but the top on this one is German spruce. And German spruce is a really nice soundboard material that is very similar, kind of maybe a little bit to Engelmann, but it's a little bit stiffer, so it's got a mid-range and an attack on this guitar that you normally would get with maybe like an Adirondack or something like that. But it's just a gorgeous piece of German spruce with beautiful grain lines, and it's got some very delicate silking going on that probably doesn't show up in the video but will show up in the photos. I've put some very fine herringbone purfling around the perimeter of this, and on this guitar it features solid maple binding on the front and the back, and also the fretboard is bound in the same flame maple. As I said, this is a standard OM depth, and on this particular guitar I used the same sinker mahogany that I used for the back and the sides to make the neck. So everything matches. Normally when you use, or when I use a mahogany, it's a Honduran mahogany or maybe African mahogany. When you use it for a neck, it's very, very light. So you have to shade it or add some color to it if you want it to match nicely the body of the guitar. I didn't have to do that on this guitar, not at all. This is the natural color of the sinker mahogany, and because it's got really nice grain in it, it really flows nicely from the neck into the body. We've covered most of the basics of this guitar, but really what I want you to listen to next is how this guitar sounds. This has a sound that's one of the most unique sounding OMs I've ever built. It has just a mid-range and a clarity and a crispness that I have never heard before. So I will very, very, very gladly give you a listen to this instrument.
Mm-hmm.